All right, great. So then we're looking at digitization of financial transactions. Ladies and gentlemen, things are going digital. Many things that we are doing today, physically, many things we are doing today physically, in the next 10 years, we shall be able to do the same things, in this case here, virtually, in a digital way, using digital platforms, internet, using our mobile phones. All right. Initially, we really used to go to, for example, supermarkets, branches of various supermarkets. All right. All right. Yeah. Various branches of supermarkets. I'm telling you, like, for example, my today's lunch. All right. I'll be able to make an order for my today's lunch, and it shall be delivered where I am. Digital transaction, I simply go to their website, say I want this, they have their menu there, I make a payment digitally, and then this food will be brought to where I am. Courtesy of this digital revolution and evolution, you guys are able to study from your comfort of your offices or homes. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't remember the last time I went to Equity Bank. I happen to be having one of our branches, not branches, but one of our bank accounts is in Equity Bank. We pay salaries using this Easy Pay. And I can't remember the last time I went, in this case, here to Equity Bank branch. Why? Because Easy Pay is a digital platform. When I get, in this case here, to Easy Pay online, I'll be able to say, these are my employees. And in this case here, the accountant will be able to confirm whether everything is okay. And then I say, pay. Easy Pay pays. So because of this digital, okay, Keter, I will trust my digital people here to deliver this food. I will not really care so much about calling them strangers, really. I mean, this is the reality now. This is the reality we find ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. When we talk of digital transactions, what do we mean? So in just a second, I'll be able to take you through these contemporary issues, digital transactions. Just a moment. The digitization of financial transactions, very common in your past papers. Digitization of financial transactions refers to the process of converting traditional paper-based financial operations into digital formats. This transition has revolutionized the way people access, manage, process financial transactions, offering greater convenience, speed, and security, and even accuracy, really. Key features of digitized transactions. They will always have electronic payments. Payments are made using digital channels like mobile apps, credit cards, debit cards, or online banking. Real-time processing. Like I'm now here shouting, of course, at the top of my voice, on real-time basis. We are able to connect with each other instantaneously. You guys can ask questions. You can make, in this case here, your contributions, and I'll be able to read here. And you're able to hear me from wherever you are. It's real-time processing. So transactions can be processed instantly or within a few seconds, unlike traditional bank transfers that could take like 2 days. Things are changing. Paperless transactions eliminates the need for physical paperwork, making processes more efficient and reducing costs. Very, very important. So please don't forget these features. They're quite important. The concept of electronic payments, real-time processing, paperless transactions, methods of digitization in terms of finance. Now we are talking about mobile banking, where you are able to access your bank accounts and make transactions via a smartphone or a tablet. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we talk here this afternoon, this lunch hour, how many of us in this case here have access to their bank accounts from their mobile phones? How many are able to access their bank accounts? They can, in this case here, withdraw. They can do bankings directly using, in this case here, their mobile phones. They can even ask, thank you so much. They can even ask for loans. Yeah, they can ask for loans. Great. Thank you so much. I'll be giving you an exercise in a few minutes, where we'll tell you, we try and see whether your banking system is working very well by asking you to transfer some small monies to my mobile phone. We shall do that practically today. Very good. So we have e-wallets and digital payments. Services like PayPal, Apple Pay, Google Pay, and the other e-wallet platforms that allow instant payments and transfers, electronic wallets. Yeah, electronic wallets. All right, electronic wallets. Cryptocurrency, we have already covered crypto, the digital currencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, enabling peer-to-peer transactions without the need for what here? Intermediaries. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of what here? Online trading. Yeah, where you can buy your stocks, bonds, commodities on digital platforms such as E-Trade. Benefits of digitization, ladies and gentlemen, we have the concept of speed and convenience. Transactions can be completed quickly without physical interaction, reducing wait times and allowing for 24/7 access. It's anytime 24/7. Like at RCM College, we're used to paying our salaries on the 21st of every month. All right, that is one of our key deliverables. All right. So then initially, for example, you'd get like 21st happening on when? On Sunday. If, for example, you were to do this physically, it would mean that we either do it on Saturday or we send someone to the bank on Monday. But nowadays, even if it's Sunday, you simply pay 24/7. Access to your banking transactions, speed and convenience, cost reduction, decreased need for paper, physical infrastructure, and manual labor. Even cost reduction, ladies and gentlemen, for who? For the customers. For the customers. So like initially, when we used to have an account at Stanbic, Standard Chartered Bank, we used to have a special counter for these clients who never used to do what to queue. All right. And I remember they were charging upwards of 1,000. As other ninjas were paying 100, 200. We could pay up to 1,000 shillings here to get express service. Now with this digital bank that Chartered Bank has, I don't have to go and pay that 1,000. I'll simply be able to access my account from wherever I am. And that is why most of these banks, starting with the Standard Chartered Bank, that is why they are closing branches. When they close branches like that, because of this digitized electronic kind of running their bank, the costs will really be reduced also on their end. You don't need this physical infrastructure anymore. And I can tell you, like those of you who have traveled to Dubai, to UK, you'll bear witness with me, ladies and gentlemen, that there are very, very few physical banks. Very, very few physical banks. You can walk like streets and streets without seeing, in this case here, like a premise written there, this bank. But there are so many banks online. Accessibility, I can see so many charts. Sorry, let me first of all pause there and read the charts. So my balance is negative. You are safe. Okay, we shall overcome, Kevin. We shall overcome. Equity up and equity line. Great. Oh, there is Fuliza. Okay, we shall overcome anytime. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. Great. So benefits of this digitization, digitized financial transactions. So we have the accessibility, enables global access to financial services even in remote areas through smartphones and the internet access. Ladies and gentlemen, this accessibility, remember, digitization opens doors for globalization. I've always, in this case here, done insurance with AAR. Pretty good company. Very good, like their medical insurance, very, very good. All right. But again, AAR now cannot beat international companies like Bupa, international companies like Cigna. So like now Mwalimu here has one cover, in this case here with what here with Cigna. Should I become sick? Should I become sick today? Cigna covers me up to 150 million and my family. All right. Why was I able to get this Cigna? Because of digitization. I'm able to get, in this case here, a company covering me, which is really based very far away, because I'm able to pay my premiums online. And you can imagine Cigna is like double of what this AR will charge you. If AR is charging you, I'm not, I've worked with AR for so long, and I even have a cover with them today. But if, for example, family level, AR charges you like 500 to 800,000, depending on your age. They give you a cover of 40 million. Very, very good. Very, very good. But when you look at these big farms, and we can only be able to access them thanks to what here? Digital platforms, thanks to the internet. All right. These guys are able to cover you up to 150 million, and they don't fear, in this case here, any diseases. Yeah. You know, like this local here, they'll start telling you congenital, something like that, that this baby was born with this defect. So now we can't cover. At Muzee, we can see your high blood pressure now is going up. For Bupa and Cigna, we are able to access. We are able to access, ladies and gentlemen, that courtesy of what here? Digital platforms. All right. So accessibility enables global access to financial services, even in remote areas, through smartphones and internet access. Security, digital transactions are often encrypted, reducing the risk of physical theft and offering fraud prevention tools. One day I remember a teacher, nowadays is in America. This guy went and withdrew some money from KCB Stanbank. Not KCB Stanbank, KCB Tomboya. So on withdrawing, I don't know what happened. He just came out of the bank. And then he got, in this case, a stranger who just greeted him. And that is the last time he remembers of that entire thing. He was just greeted by somebody. The next time he was finding himself in hospital without, in this case here, this money. So physical could at times, in this case here, be, very, very insecure. But when, in this case here, I have my money on my electronic wallet, when I have my money on my electronic wallet, all right? And this money, in this case here, of course, in between it cannot be tapped, because of the, when it's encrypted, it means it's sender to sender, sender to receiver. When it is moving on the way, nobody can hack it. Nobody can hack it, all right? Of course, it's not 100% safe, but it's more safer. It's more safer. It's more safer. So security. Challenges, of course, we have this cybersecurity, increased risk of hacking, fraud, and data breaches. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, for you to get like these big paying platforms like Visa, the Visa card, being hacked, it's secure maybe up to 90%, yes. Being hacked, it's very, very hard. Digital divide, of course, now not all of us in this case will be having these smartphones. There are still guys who don't have a smartphone. So there is kind of discrimination here. Not everyone has access to the internet or the necessary technology to perform digital transactions, leading to inequality. Regulatory concerns, governments and financial regulators are working to catch up with the fast pace of digital finance, which can lead to gaps in oversight and security. In oversight and security, sorry, I'm seeing in this case here messages. Yeah, contemporary issues in finance, yes. Congenital, yes. Congenital, yes. Thank you so much. We shall overcome, David. We shall overcome, David. We shall overcome, David. So then examples of digitization, very, very important for your exams. Contactless payments. Contactless. Using credit cards or smartphones to pay without needing to physically swipe or insert cards. Because at times you may insert your card somewhere, and then those guys have got a way of retaining your information. We have had that kind of theft happening. You insert, in this case, your Visa card, your debit card or credit card somewhere, and those guys have got made a kind of a gadget where they are able to capture information, then they steal. When I pay using my M-Pesa, contactless. Peer-to-peer transfers, services like M-Pesa Wave. For those of you who are getting something from America, you know the Wave thing, or Cash App that enables users to send money directly to others via apps. Then we have digital banking, banks without any physical presence. Yeah, even in Kenya, they are already here. M-Shwari by Safaricom and CBA, a mobile banking service that allows users to access savings and loan facilities directly through their mobile phones, part of the M-Pesa ecosystem in Kenya. The NCBA loop. Is there anybody here who is using this NCBA loop? Anybody who could be making use of an NCBA loop? Because we want to discuss practical things. Practical things. NCBA loop. Yeah, it's a wonderful. Yeah, it's a wonderful app. It's a wonderful app. Very good. Now, easy to use. So NCBA loop, an entirely digital banking platform. Once you have it, you don't even need to visit NCBA. An entirely digital banking platform offering services like account opening, savings, money transfers, and loans, all through a smartphone app. Is there anybody who is a member of Tala? A member of Tala? Anybody who is a member of Tala here? A member of Tala? Anybody who is a member of Tala? I mean, a customer of Tala. A customer of Tala. A customer of Tala. Yes, so Josephat, for being honest, give me your number. Give me your number. I send you something, Josephat, for being honest. I like honest students. Josephat, I'll send you some lunch here, 300 shillings for being honest. It's not bad to have loans. All of us are human beings, and of course, there is a time, whether you like it or not, you'll be in a fixed situation. A mobile-based lending platform that provides instant credit based on mobile data and other non-traditional metrics to evaluate credit worthiness. And I'm so sure, Josephat, you don't know even where Tala offices are. You are doing all these digitally. Branch, another mobile-based lending platform offering digital loans to individuals in Kenya, assessing loan eligibility using mobile phone data. Impact on traditional finance. Impact on traditional finance. Bank branches. Reduced reliance on physical branches for basic services such as deposits and transfers. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm giving you this. You can take this to your bank and use it as collateral, and you'll be given a loan. In the next 10 years, even these big banks, like, for example, Equity, perhaps they will only be having their headquarters alone, physically. All these branches in this case here will just disappear. They will evaporate. Just like, for example, these universities, I really wonder. The other day I was it Embu University, I mean, very good university, doing in this case here very big infrastructural developments, big buildings. I loved it. But you see, internally, I was saying these guys are not aware that in the next 10 years, we will not need those physical facilities. That concept of somebody being enclosed in some four walls, form of a classroom, is going to be something of the past. I mean, look at, for example, and I'm sorry to mention some of my competitors, like Visions, used to be a very big college. And I believe it will be a big college, but they have to adopt, in this case here, this what here, online training. In the next, now, look at, for example, these physical colleges. Is it possible for you to get any physical college that has got 200 students in one classroom? 200 students in one classroom. Is it possible? No. Look at RCM, like evening classes. We are talking of 300 what here, 50 students. I mean, that is a direction. Ladies and gentlemen, even yourselves, I can guarantee you, start knowing how to do things digitally. Don't study in anybody's physical classroom, because even the accounting functionality, our work as accountants is going online 100%. Like, I worked for Arrow. Arrow is a Swedish big company for about 5 years, and I was working from home. So the more you start knowing these digital things from 10 students online, they concentrate too much on physical students only. You see that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, this thing of working from home, doing your things, in this case here, from wherever you are, is now coming up to speed very quickly. That is why when I get a student, for example, who does not know how to type very fast, I get a student, there are things I cannot understand. I get a student, please allow me to digress a little bit and get my Excel here. Get my Excel here. Get my Excel here. Yeah, great. So you'll get a student, for example, and this is an accountant, and they keep on crying. And mwalimu, you know what? We don't have jobs. So you get, in this case here, an accountant. This accountant, give them, for example, a big data sheet. I talked to you yesterday about big data. So when you give them a big data sheet that has like 10,000 rows, and then you come and tell them that, hey, look for just one item called Lazio. Lazio. I mean, they don't even know how to use the VLOOKUP, equals VLOOKUP, tab, lookup value I'm looking for Lazio. And I have to lock this Lazio. Just I'll take 1 minute of your time as I digress. I must lock this H. So I'm locking this H. I must lock this H. I continue with my journey like that. Table array is this entire table array. So I'll come and say Control Shift, right arrow, down arrow, and then I lock this fully by saying function F4. Then I come here, column indices. There are many columns I would want to fill. I want this column 2 to column number 5. So I have to use what we call curly brackets. So we have here 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we close this using a curly bracket. And then I say comma. Then we come here to the range, I will say 0, because in finance, we talk of full accuracy. So come and close this. When I enter, ladies and gentlemen, you can see I've been able to identify where Lazio is, Italy. It has been able to. So if I come and pick, for example, for any team, so you tell me Borussia, I'm able to give information about Borussia. Come and tell you, me mwalimu, now I want to know information about Arsenal because I'm an Arsenal fan. I'll simply type. Now I've been able to automate this. This is what we call digitization, like that. So you'll get somebody, in this case, ladies and gentlemen, and the people in Kenya here, we are really crazy about qualifications. Somebody has done CPA, BCom, even masters, but the Excel knowledge, 0. Power BI knowledge, 0. Yeah, 0. And that is why you'll get like so many of accountants here complaining that mwalimu, me, I'm getting 50,000 and yet have a master's. But in terms of your practical knowledge, international disaster. We are not waking up to smell the coffee that now things have gone digital, and then we invest here. So we shall overcome. That was just but what here. I'll also be mentoring you on very, very great things because you guys are my friends. You are, I don't have any cash crops where I come from. So you guys are my cash crops, especially when I'll become very old. You guys will be coming through. Yeah, great. So we have the rise of these fintech, finance technology companies. Yeah, growth of financial technology companies offering innovative, digital, fast solutions. I really sympathize with banks in Kenya. Most of these banks in Kenya, they are paying huge rents. Once we have these fintechs being accepted in Kenya here very, very well, like, South Africa fintech market penetration is very, very high. I mean, there is a fintech that will come to Kenya, not unless our banks here evolve. This thing of having branches all over, not unless in this case here they innovate. I'm telling you, most of them will be in big problems, just like our insurance companies. They need to wake up, they smell the coffee, fast adoption of innovations. Technologies like blockchain and AI can be integrated into digital transaction systems, enhancing efficiency and security. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of this digitization. I would want you to take 1 minute of reflection, 1 minute of reflection, and tell me today, as I sign off this concept of digitization, just one sentence. What are you able to remember about this digitization of financial transactions? Anything, it could be an advantage, it could be a component. What are you able to remember? What is it that you will never forget? So as I wait for you to guys to write something, I'll always remember so many things that Dr. Ura has told us. He has told us how digital era is revolutionizing the insurance sector. Yeah, banking sector. I remember in this case here, fintech, accessibility of services globally, benefits in security, methods of digitization. Thank you so much. Mobile banking, crypto. Yeah, cost reduction, accessibility. Thank you so much. RINA, security. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Enhances efficiency. There is something I'm looking for. There are guys who haven't yet typed. I'm so sure there is something I'm looking for, and then I jump to something different. Flexibility, because of the 24/7. Yeah, Kevin Tala, and I haven't forgotten that guy, that ninja called Josephat. I don't know whether I take the mobile number now or I just finish the class. Let me just finish the class, and then later on, he'll give me his number. We have to embrace digitization. Facilitates globalization, yes. Now we have this thing becoming a global village. Some of you will be doing wonderful jobs, international jobs from your local homes. Contactless payments, digital banking. Thank you so much. I think now I have everything. Now, as I introduce my next topic called derivatives, I would want to know whether there is anybody who loves French fries. Do we have anybody who loves chips? Yeah. So David, you'll be so I so David was the first one. So David gets it. This case in my present. David was the first one to mention that. Now, these chips, ladies and gentlemen, they are normally made over potatoes. Now, what is the general, how much on average is a packet of chips going for outside here? On average. Yeah, 100 shillings. Yeah, you're right. Not unless you're talking of KFC, 100 shillings, you're right. Now, when did they start charging this price of 100 shillings? Can somebody remember this price of 100 on average? Shillings 100 on average. When did they start charging 100? Is it this year, last year, after COVID, 2022, 2021, 2020? Yeah, and you can see they have not changed that price for a very long time. Let me ask you the last question. We've said that these chips, they are made from out of potatoes. What do you know? What do you know about the price of potatoes? Is it static? Is it constant like the price of a packet of chips? Potatoes, the girls who are here, our beautiful girls who are here, or even boys, some boys know. Yeah, it varies a lot. It varies a lot. Like right now, is there anybody who could be knowing the price of a sack of potatoes, one sack of potatoes? Anybody who could be knowing the price, current price? 4,000, 3,000, yeah. And you remember, there is sometimes it goes all the way up to 7,000. It goes all the way up to 7,000. 5K, you're right, 6,000, yeah. So then what do you think in this case here with these price fluctuations? When the price of potatoes goes to 7,000, there is a likelihood that this hotelier who is selling chips will make losses because his input cost is way up there. Yeah. So then one of the ways that this person can use as a finance scholar or using a finance consultant to ensure that his loss side is covered, that he'll never make losses, is to introduce the concept of what are derivatives are. Derivatives. So you may forget about everything, but always remember this hotelier who is going to cushion himself against making losses by introducing a derivative. So basically, a derivative is a hedge. Hedge like this. Hedge like this. Hedge. A hedge is a fence. So use this fence to reduce your risks. And in finance, there are so many risks, ladies and gentlemen. So many risks in finance. You could be selling your products in US dollars. So you sell your products in US dollars. So you're receiving US dollars. What do you know about the US dollar value? Keeps on fluctuating. So when this dollar was going for 160 Kenya shillings, you used to be very happy. And you're just selling, 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 and you're not even, in this case here, exchanging your dollars to Kenya shillings. You are holding them. And then all of a sudden, our professor, William Ruto, does something like this. It goes down to 1.9, you make losses. So there is a possibility that whenever you are in import or export business, you could make what we call foreign exchange losses. And that is why it is important. You also need to know, how do you cover yourselves? I once made a loss. I like that. I once made a loss. Ladies and gentlemen, it is always important for us to think about what are derivatives in all our lives. Like if you are here and you don't have an insurance product, you are just one disease away from poverty. One disease away from poverty. Believe that is very harsh, but you know, I'm your father. I must tell you the truth. Is there somebody in this case here who has really been pushed by, medical bills? Let's be very practical. I like being practical. Anybody who has ever been pushed like so badly, like you even started selling your family assets? This is me. If you realize, in this case here, like last semester, or even beginning of this semester, my son became sick. Yeah, and he was hospitalized at Aga Khan, actually over Christmas, right? All those things coming, all right? And this guy was being released just the other day. The medical bill was over 2 million. I can't imagine what I would have done, if I never had insurance. Yeah, but their services are also very good. Their services are very good. Thank you very much. We are trying to be very practical here. We are trying to be very, very practical here. So it's always good you have these insurance covers, medical cover. If possible, accident cover. Yeah, you say even on death. People, in Africa generally, insurance has not been sold very well. So people don't appreciate the importance of insurance. Because at times you'll get a very, very small cover. A very, very small cover, for example, like the one of last respect. We are human beings. Whether we like it or not, whether you like it or not, whether you like it or not, we will die. You see, like, for example, when you go to Stanbic, they have that policy. Is it 100? You only pay 100 shillings, 100 shillings. And then upon death, they pay, is it 200,000? I'm not so sure. Yeah. And then you'll get a ninja here who is with us here. When they die, we start, in this case here, opening WhatsApp groups. No, those are things you can do. You go, for example, to APA. If your mom is over, say, 70 years, not many companies want to take people for insurance who are very old. If your mom or your father is more than 70 years, you go and pay them like 70,000. And then they give you a cover of 500,000. At that age, that old lady, that old mzee will cover more than 500 if he becomes sick. 500,000 is still a good cover for them. All right. Now somebody will come and make an argument. What if I pay this 70,000 and then this mzee does not fall sick in the entire year? Will you feel bad? Not per month, it's per year. It was hard to say, okay, it's per year. It's per year. Especially when you are very, very young, like in your 20s, you'll be surprised in your 20s, you can even pay, is it 30,000 in your 20s? 30,000, and then you have a cover of up to 10 million. All right. Let me ask you a question. Those of you who are employed, those of you who have been sick, those of you who have ever gone to Nairobi Hospital, Aga Khan and the rest, and they have, in this case here, insurance cards. Do those insurance work? Do they work? Do they work? Somebody talk to us. Do they work? Yes. Yes, they work. They work. They work. You need them. You need them. Actually, we should put, like, if you're a student of RCM, you need to know a lot about what you insure. Insurance. You need to know a lot about insurance. Like I have a friend of mine. This friend of mine, in this case here, accidentally lost the wife. Death is there, as I've told you. When Mia can die, death is there. All right. And then this guy, within no minute, I mean, he was being contacted by the insurance that, you know what, your wife had this cover. And the guy got 20 million Kenya shillings. So I'm so sure, you know, like how they call it bipolar. You know, bipolar, you are sad today, you are happy tomorrow. I mean, even at the same time. So I'm so sure this guy, as he was crying, of course, this is a joke, but as he was crying, I mean, there was something that he knew that he could fall back to. So the 20 million can be very helpful now to the children, you know. And I'm so sure, because I don't have that accident cover, but I need to get it also myself. Yeah, just in case I go, my children will be able to get like 20 million. Yeah, yeah. Medical benefit insurance. I love what this ninja is saying there. Yeah. And also this shift thing, the SHA thing is working. Yes, is working. Is working. That one I can attest to it. Like when I was releasing my son, this SHA also played a very, very big role. And loyal relatives is real. They might kill you. So then what I would advise, like my friend never knew that the wife had taken a cover. What I would advise, you just take the cover and then keep it a top secret. All right. But in the next of kin, ensure that you disclose that husband there. Keep it a top secret. But is it true that there is somebody, like, for example, if I take a cover of 20 million, is it true that my wife can organize to kill me so that she can benefit? I think she benefits more when I'm alive. I think she benefits more when I'm alive. Good experience with shift. It's good. It's good, yeah. So, so okay. Or people have been killed. Oh, Allah. Oh, don't trust anybody. Okay. You guys need to send me links maybe to understand this, but I don't trust that I can kill my own wife simply because of some 20 million. Hiyo ni pesa itaingia na itaisha na upate mashida mingi, the companionship you are enjoying, you start being very lonely. You start being very lonely, you start looking for another lady to marry, you marry a wrong number, you die very fast. You die very fast. You die very fast. Killed his son in Muega to get the cover. That's very, very bad. Septic is real. Okay. We shall overcome. So whenever you hear of derivative, always think about what here? Insurance. Think about ring fencing yourself against what here? Risks. Know that there are so many risks that are really chasing you up. There are so many risks that are really chasing you up. Somebody in this case is asking whether they should go for AAR. Yeah, AAR is a good one. Have the very best experience with the AAR. If you can't afford the international ones, AAR. And then with the AAR, talk to my guy. I have a very good guy over there. His name is Bernard. Bernard, somebody, this guy is really, really good on insurance matters. Very different from. So let's go back to these derivatives. So a derivative is a financial instrument whose value is derived from the value of an underlying asset, index, or rate. These instruments that you're calling financial instruments, they are primarily used for hedging risk or speculating when you want to make a profit, or working with what we call arbitrage opportunities. So these types of derivatives, I would want you to go and read them. I would want you to go and read these types of derivatives. They're very, very good. So for example, we have what we call the forward contracts. So under forward contract, how does this work? A forward contract, for example, somebody promises me 1 million US dollars. When they promise me 1 million US dollars, I'm so sure on my bed at night, I will be turning like this, 360 degrees, thinking about that money. How much will the exchange rate be that time when I receive this money? So this issue of exchange rate will really be making me sweat at night. And you know, sweating at night, especially when you are a man, is very, very bad. All right. So then the very best thing to do is to walk to Equity Bank and tell Equity Bank, I'll be receiving 1 million US dollars in 6 months. Let's agree on an exchange rate that will be applicable by then for me. So they tell you it is going to be 150 Kenya shillings per dollar. So then in the future, if the rate will be 160, they'll tell me, no, we have a contract. We have a forward contract here. But you see, mine is basically to cover myself when the rate goes very low. Because if it goes to 120, I'll tell them, hey, gentlemen, we have a contract here. Gentlemen, we have a contract here. Forward. We have futures contracts. These ones normally work like forward contracts. But now these ones are tradable. You can trade them. So I have a forward contract to the equity bank to sell these dollars to them at 150. So they give me a contract of 150. If I'm able to go and sell this contract to another person, then that contract changes from forward to futures. Standardized contracts traded on exchanges to buy or sell an asset at a future date for a set price. Unlike forwards, they're highly regulated. Then we have options. These options are very, very, very important. So for options, this is how they work. You have this handout. I don't have to read everything. You have this handout. I don't have to read everything. These are how options work. So I'm the hotelier in Nairobi. I've gone in this case here to Kirinyaga County, where they plant lots of potatoes. I've gotten in this case here somebody who has got 100 acres. He had not planted anything. So we agree with this person. I'm going to give you an optional contract, an option derivative. Plant potatoes today. In 6 months' time, I'll be buying your potatoes at 3,000. I'll be buying your potatoes at 3,000. So if it's an option, it means that there is an alternative. Let me ask you a question. 6 months down the line, they're here. I go to Kirinyaga. Before I go to my contracted farmer, I walk around. And then I realize that there are farmers who are willing to sell their potatoes to me at 1,000. At 1,000. What do you think shall I do? Shall I go back to my contracted farmer who is selling now to me at 3,000, or shall I buy these potatoes elsewhere? What do you think shall I do? What do you think shall I do? I share the number. I will share the number. Yes. Great. Thank you, Patricia. Yeah. I'll share the notes. Notes I can share now, but the number of this insurance guy, I will share. Notes I can share now. And please, if you're here and you are not an RCM student, make a point. Thank you so much, Nuria. You buy elsewhere. Because you know what we have is not a forward contract, is not a futures contract. We have an optional contract. An option gives you the right, but not an obligation. You don't have any obligation. You're not obliged. You'll tell this guy, I gave you an optional derivative. So it is either you come down the horse, you come down from the high horses and sell to me at 1,000, or I bolt away. I go and buy this thing from other people. So an option gives you the right, but not an obligation. So an option, ladies and gentlemen, contracts that give the holder the right, but not an obligation to buy or sell an underlying asset at a predetermined price before a certain expiration date. So the holder has the right, but not obligated. No obligation. The other day I was seeing somebody who was suing a gentleman for not marrying her. That in this case here, these people are dated for a good number of years, 4 years. The gentleman even paid dowry. Something happened along the way. He said, no, I'm not marrying this lady. The other day, he's seeing now this gentleman making announcements through the AG, the Attorney General's office, that now he's marrying somebody. So now this lady was taking this gentleman to court. Do you think this lady succeeded with the case? Oh, Francis, if you are a fully paid up RCM student, I'll be able to vote for you. But I don't know whether you will be able to match my agent. I don't know, but I'll be able to talk to you, Francis. Please talk to me. I can easily market you. I hope you are as good as my agent. My agent is a gentleman, but maybe Francis is also equally good. And if he's an RCM student, fully paid, I mean, we should promote him. But I would want him to be very, very good. Like there is a time we had somebody who did some medical, yeah, in India, and they were able to sponsor. They were able to sponsor. All right. So the lady never succeeded because, you know, when I proposed to you, I mean, I have many alternatives. If in this case here we are, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you understand. Yeah, you can't force somebody to marry you. You will end dying. You can't force somebody to marry you. Neither can you even ask for damages. Which damages? In a court of law, I'm so sure no damages were offered there. No damages were offered there. Nothing. You'll be told, young girl, go and cool down. Time is a healer. Time is a healer. Time is a healer. Then we have, ladies and gentlemen, what we call swaps. Now, whenever we talk of swaps, swaps means what here? Exchanging things. Emotional damage. Emotional damage, okay. But that's very bad. Please, I have a daughter. Never do that to our daughters. Very, very bad. Very, very bad. Don't bring jokes on serious matters. Serious matters. Now, you see, ladies and gentlemen, grass is always greener on the other side. Grass is always greener on the other side. You will get somebody today who is working at the UN, who is still making applications to get jobs elsewhere. You will get somebody in this case who has got a very, very good family, but every time they go to church, this gentleman, especially we gentlemen, we keep on admiring other people's families. Very, very bad. Now, there are two types of loans. There are two types of loans. We have what we call fixed interest loans, and we have what we call floating interest loans. The fixed, we go to a bank, we agree. It is 12% per annum. It shall never change, regardless of what the central bank charges, the rate from the central bank, it shall never change. It shall never change. That's fixed. And then we shall have the floating rate, like most of my loans are floating. Very, very bad. Like right now, they're floating. So when they're floating, whenever central bank raises their rate, automatically the bank rate goes up and you are affected. So we have got two people here. We have person A who has a fixed rate. Then we have person B who has a floating rate. This thing of admiring what other people own is very, very common. Is very, very common. I mean, you'll get even a lady, I mean, seeing like a hairstyle that she fixed just last week is not as good as her friend's hairstyle. So if a hairstyle was to finish like say 3 months on her head, at times they even remove those things prematurely, simply because they have seen something better. So A, B. So where A is, A will be saying, I wish I took a floating loan rate. Then these are the gentleman is saying, I wish I took a fixed rate loan. So instead of saying, I wish, they get a bank manager at Equity. So of course they will not be able to take like new loans. But now this bank manager will tell them, we have Mr. A that is admiring your loan. And then this other guy will be told, we have Mr. B who is admiring your loan. And then now the bank will organize what we call a swap. A swap. So a swap is an interchange, an exchange of loan obligations, an exchange of two denominations, foreign currency denominations. Whenever you listen, let me read here. Let me read here. So a swap agreements between two parties to exchange cash flows or financial instruments over a set of period. Common types include interest rate swaps and currency swaps. Example, a company with a floating interest rate on a loan may enter into an interest rate swap to pay a fixed rate in exchange for receiving a floating rate. Normally what I tell my students, you don't need to cram these things at all. No, get that high level understanding. Once you have the high level understanding, like what Patricia is talking about, the barter trade, I mean, you have really understood this. So now you can use your own language. You hear over a swap. Remember, there is an exchange of obligations. There can be an exchange of loans where two people exchange their loan obligations. One takes a floating loan, the other one takes what here, a fixed loan. That way you will shine on these theory papers. That way you will be okay. There is a bad example that I have here. At times I give those bad examples so that my students can remember. Oh, we only have 2 minutes. We only have 2 minutes. Like in America, we have a place where people are able to do spousal swaps. Yeah, spousal swaps. And remember, under a swap arrangement, the swap is never permanent. You must return back to your original what your positions. So under these spousal swaps, huwezi enda ukatalie kama in 2 weeks, wewe lazima urudi kwa mzee ama urudi kwa mama. Spousal what year swaps. It's in America, even in Kenya, there are places that have started doing those funny things. They're not very, very good. But now with that example, you will never, ever forget. You're unasema ala. Hata hapa kwa news, hata Kenya kwa news, kuna mmoja ilikuwa imekuja kwa, ilikuwa Luyaland, some people here. But now those girls refuse to return back to the original spouses, which is very, very bad. Tricky. Kenya is work. Okay, Kenya is borrowing a lot of bad things from America. Trust you me. Trust you me. Trust you me. If you start that kind of a business, you will get clientele. But now you will go to hell. You will go to hell. Ladies and gentlemen, I would have wanted to continue, but I can see it's exactly Uber cars to be paid in 20 months. Then the obligation is too much. They would approach bank for a swap and pay bank in more months. Wow, great. Those are the kind of examples I like. Now, there are those two students that Mwalimu was to buy lunch. Are they able to write their numbers here very first? And of course, any student who is around here would want to join the legendary RCM. We welcome all of you. Our number is 0719 525,000. 0719 525,000. 0719. So we have Josephat. 0719 525,000. We welcome all of you to join RCM where we teach you practical things. So David, I will just send you the entire cash and then you send this guy. You can take these two of you equally. So David, I'm sending this to you. And then you will be able to give the other ninja, the other gentleman, equal amount. Muchiri, okay, great, great. So David, you're not even using your name, David. You are not even using your name, David. David, you're not even using your name. Are you the one, really? Yeah, I've seen, I should not have cancelled. I shouldn't have cancelled. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure hosting you. See you tomorrow, same time, for us to finish this concept here. All right. As the only place for me. Great, let me read this. No problem, Sahini, we can talk about that. We'll not charge you again. We won't charge you again. Let's talk about that offline. New student already. Hakuna gender balance, we shall overcome. Other two names, okay, great. The low-hanging fruits on AFM, I'll be able to discuss that. For now, I have another engagement. Please allow Mwalimu to move on to the next engagement. Thank you so much. Be blessed big time and ensure that you are students of RCM. Bye. Yeah, great.